Hey guys, welcome here for Magic Mondays, where I have the fourth deck list that I have for you in the series, although it's the third episode, technically, because technicalities. But, so today, I have this deck where everything is one cost, pretty much. And so let's sort by name and piles. Let's go name. There we go. And sort actually by type. Can I do that? So, to start off, I have a 1 generic to cast, legendary artifact Thopter creature, by the name of Hope of Girapur. It's a 1/1 with flying. You sacrifice it, and until your next turn, target player who was dealt damage by it this turn can't cast non-creature spells, which is snazzy. Next thing we got is 4 Leonin Elders, which are 1/1 cat cleric creatures, and they have, when an artifact comes into play, I may gain 1 life. And pretty much everything in this deck is artifacts, so it means I gain life from pretty much everything. But the next thing here is 4 Mere Servitors. And I can kind of hear the few people in the back being like, oh, finally, Leo Mir, finally, having a mirror creature in one of his decks, which is like his signature thing. Because, yeah, I've been purposely kind of not showing decks with mirror in it. Kind of building up, but it's a 1 generic to cast mirror creature that at the beginning of your upkeep, if it's in the grave, if it's on the battlefield, each player returns all cards with that share that name from the grave to the battlefield. So one's on the field, 3 in the grave, boom, they's all there. Then the next is Vector Asp. It's a 1 generic to cast for a 1/1, and if I can pay 1 black to give it infect until end of turn. So poison counters and -1/-1 counters instead of damage. Now, creatures are out of the way. I got Altar of the Brood, which is whenever I got 4 of them. It's an artifact that whenever a permanent enters the battlefield under my control, each opponent puts the top card of his or her library into his or her grave. Then I have 4 Ancestral Recalls, which you guys should have seen a few times already. 1 blue to cast, to have any target player draw 3 cards, which usually would be me drawing cards. Then I have 1 Angel's Grace. I'm at a split second, so it means if it's being cast, pretty much nothing can be cast after it until it resolves. And I can't lose the game this turn, and my opponents can't win the game this turn. Until end of turn, damage that would reduce my life total less than 1 reduces it to 1 instead. So a last second saving grace if I'm dying. Now, the next thing here is Authority of the Consuls. It's a 1 white to cast enchantment with creatures my opponent controls enter tapped. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, I gain a life, which is snazzy. I say snazzy too much. Then I have Codex Shredder, 1 generic to cast for an artifact that has tap. Target player puts the top card of his or her grave into the top card of his or her library into the grave, and then 5 tap and sack it. I can return target card from my grave to my hand, and I'll be right back. Alright, now I'm back. Had to tend to the little baby. He was crying, and that makes me sad. But, so the next thing we've got is 2 Elixir of Immortality. 1 generic cost to cast, with 2 tap, and I gain 5 life, and then I shuffle it and my grave into the library, so anti-mill, just to be on the safe side. Then I have, Grafdigger's Cage, for 1 generic to cast, an artifact with creatures in graves and libraries can't enter the battlefield, and players can't cast spells from graves or libraries. So, only their hands. Kind of keep things simple. Then I have 2 Meek Stones, which is a 1 generic to cost one generic cost to cast artifact, and with creatures power 3 or greater, don't untap during their controller's untap steps. And so, as you can see, everything's been 1 converted mana cost to cast up to this point. And then for the mana base, I have 4 Mox Emeralds, which are 0 cost to tap to add green, which you guys have seen. Mox Jet, 0 cost to add black. Got 4 Pearls to add white, red, and blue. Although, so 4 of each, pretty much. Although, I only really need the blue and white for abilities and things that are specific colors. But then I also have Profane Memento, which is generic. Whenever a creature card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, I gain 1 life. So that being milled from my other mills spells or whatever lets me gain more life. Then Retract for 1 blue. I return all artifacts I control to their owner's hand. So return all my artifacts to my hand, and then I combine that with different stuff to bring them all back with the 0 cost Moxes and mill more stuff and gain more life. Then I have Sol Ring, which is a generic to add 2 colorless. And that's all of the main deck. Let's see where the side deck is, because I do have one, actually. And so Johnny's Welcome is white, and whenever a creature enters the battlefield under my control, I gain 1 life. I didn't really end up using it that much, is why it's in the sideboard. 2 more Angel's Grace, which is white. Black Vise, which is generic. As it enters the battlefield, choose an opponent, and at the beginning of the chosen player's upkeep, it deals X damage to that player, where X is the number of cards in his or her hand minus 4. Most of the time doesn't come into play because you're playing most everything from your hand anyways. Ethereal Haze for 1 white, and prevent all damage that would be dealt by creatures this turn. So just kind of one more thing, a white fog, pretty much. 3 more Retracts, just in case, which I just now noticed that has mirror artwork on it. That's lovely. And then I have 2 Silence, because in addition to Hope of Ghirapur, Silence for white, they can't cast any spells, period. So yeah, that's always fun. But tell me in the comments what you think of the deck. If you don't like it, feel free to drop a dislike on the video. If you do like it, do hit that little like button. And if you want to stay up to date of all the videos, including the little baby and more little deck lists, subscribe and ring that little bell if you want to stay up to date of each and every time I upload a video. But for now, this is Leo, over and out. Peace.